Hello, it's Andy and I'm in the garden today. The weather isn't too fantastic, there's been a little bit of rain, but that is going to possibly help me in what I'm going to do. Now, I have several fruit trees, a cherry, a plum, a couple apples and a couple pear trees. Now, here in the UK it's been pretty mild at the moment and we haven't had a real hard winter. In fact, it's been really wet. Now the issue is, during the summer I was watering these fruit trees, and as I've been informed, I've possibly watered them that little bit too much. What that's potentially done is washed any nutrients out of the soil, because it was rather wet here where I'm to in the UK, in the southwest. And on top of that, I was watering very heavily in the misguided belief that they needed that amount of water. I tried to rectify that during the autumn by putting chicken compost around the trees, which has been very successful. We've got a lot of grass growth in rings around the trees, which has obviously let some nutrients soak back into the soil. But I'm going to replace some of that with some organic matter that isn't from the chickens, as in direct manure. I'm going to use organic fertilizing pellets, which are organic. They're primarily consists of like chicken matter, and I'm going to put some ash from our wood burner. That mixed together should provide, this time of year, which is mid-January, an option to, shall we say, revitalise the soil and give it that bit more nutrients for the trees when they start to push buds out. This plum tree has always produced a lot of plums, and as you can see, I've got a lot of grass growth where we put the actual chicken compost, so that's done a job of releasing some of its nutrients into the ground. This young cherry tree has a very big patch of grass, and like I said just a minute ago, you can see that from the grass surrounding it and further down, that this is at least 3 to 4 inches taller. So those nutrients have made a difference even at this time of year, and all the grass was cut down to the same level, so you can see the boost that it's given. This apple tree produced a nice little crop, and yet again you can see the evidence of the chicken fertilizer from the autumn. It's going to definitely get this last lot of fertilizer, which will be the last lot this year, and this should enable this tree to produce a lot of growth and hopefully fruit. This is my oldest apple tree, and it's not really produced a lot of fruit compared to the smaller ones, but yet again I'm going to give this a good helping of fertilizer to help it on its way this year, and hopefully it will produce a good crop this year. I'm still waiting for this pear tree to produce a crop, so I'm more concerned about just giving this tree the chance this year to establish itself and push higher into the shall we say, sky, to allow it more sunlight, and the nutrients should help its leaf growth, so then it can photosynthesize and get the best start that I can give it. So with my wood burner, I'm burning natural wood, and it's not the constituted man-made bricks that are like wood derived leftovers. I don't know how they're made or manufactured, but I don't use them, and obviously I'm not using coal or anything else is burnt in that wood burner. It's just straight wood, so what I'm getting is good solid organic, shall we say, ash. Yeah, so this is what my wood burner produces. I still have some lumps of charcoalish stuff, but it's the white stuff that's going to produce the potash, which will do the soil and indeed the trees the biggest amount of, shall we say, have the biggest amount of nutrients and give the biggest benefit to them. So yeah, I'm going to put that in a ring around the base and I'll show you. And then I shall be using these chicken pellets, which I will spread around. And when I say chicken pellets, it's not feed, it is actually the fertiliser itself. Like I said, it's organic based. We have chickens down there, and obviously pets, and obviously we pick grass for the chickens and that. So we want to keep everything as organic as possible. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing, and I'll show you how I'd go about that. Right, all I'm doing is getting a handful and I'm just sprinkling it around the base. As you can see, not going too far in, just allowing it to come around like this here. So got a bit of potash there, get a handful of these pellets, and I'm going to do the same. Just work right the way around. Few more pellets, and I'm just working them in there in a circle around, not too close to the tree, but just allowing to get a fine coverage, and you can pretty much see the idea of what I've done there. Right, doing this cherry tree here, I'm going to put it a little bit tighter on this one, not too tight, just a little bit more there. The reason for that is that this gets a lot of runoff from water on this particular area here, so I'm trying to keep it a bit tighter so there's no danger that I'm basically losing all the nutrients. So just put them on like that and just work it all in. It says to give it a good shake, and I think these according to the box, these pellets break down with water, which is quite convenient because obviously we've got a lot of rain and dampness down here in the southwest, so this should fertilise this tree and it should get the benefit of that. Yet again, the plum tree, just going around, give it a nice little circle there, and the same thing again, follow that line with the pellets. It says do it by a cup, but I do have a reasonable gauge which I'm doing it, shall I say, visually. So there you go, see, I'm just working the pellets into the grass and they'll do their job now. The actual, should we say, fertiliser brand states that it's got a 4.5% of nitrogen in it. Now, nitrogen is the one that most gardeners recognise as a, should we say, very quick uplift to the growing of their, shall we say, plants. Potash obviously comes in at a close second. There's a raft of other chemical constituents there, which I've just put a photograph on, you can read yourself. So I'm more than happy this will do the job. I shall not put any more on now. Even during the spring, I will consider what I've done through the autumn and now to be loading the soil and giving it enough time to reach the root system and embed itself in the soil for the spring. Now, some people might say that's a good way off yet, but the thing is, this year we're not having a very, very hard winter as of yet. Now, the wild plants and even within the garden and even the trees, as I've stated in other videos, I'm starting to see young buds form, which traditionally is extremely early for a lot of these plants, including the wild ones. So if you take nature as our lead, we can argue that possibly that we're not mistaken in thinking things will start to happen a little earlier this year. So I'm hoping, done it at the right time. There's nothing stopping there being a hard frost or shall we say a winter coming in, but it wouldn't be just me that was caught out. Obviously a lot of the wild plants and that would be as well, but I've just taken their lead and from what I'm seeing, and I'm hoping this will actually do the job for me this year. Yeah, you should always follow what the manufacturer puts on the package as to regard to anything that you're going to put on the soil or indeed plants, and health and safety will obviously come to the fore, that you should be wearing protective clothing as gloves, eyewear and whatever else is stated on the box. What I've done is what I've done, and I'm hoping that my trees now have a good start for the late summer season for fruit production. That's something I can't do nothing about now. Now I've done this, it's simply the same as any other gardener. I'm going to have to wait and hope and realise that if I don't get the results, I'm going to have to try something else, but that is part and parcel of gardening. So yes, always keep your products a sensible distance away from the trunk or base of your plant or tree. You don't want to over contaminate the area. You can indeed burn a tree or plant, or indeed load it too much with chemicals with good intent, and it will actually harm the plant or tree in itself. So yeah, always be sensible of what you're doing and keep it a little bit of a distance away from the base of the tree or plant. So yeah, I'm going to sign out here now. It's Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks, and I guess it's going to be the late summer before we see if this has made any difference.